Oh, hello, hello. Have you ever left a workplace feeling drained, doubting your skills, and questioning, is this really worth it? Am I really worth it? Toxic workplaces can do that, especially for high achieving women. In this video, we'll uncover the steps 8, right, to recover from toxic work environments, rebuild your confidence, and reclaim your career. From setting boundaries to detoxing your mindset, I'll share actionable strategies to help you thrive and create a career that actually aligns with your values and your brilliance. So go ahead and get ready. So I have some things on tap for you to take control of your own narrative. Now, have you ever found yourself replaying toxic work moments in your head, wondering how did I let this go on for so long? I don't know about you, but I tended to ruminate. I have anxiety, and so I tended to just kind of let things go, and I'm conflict avoidant. So I wouldn't say anything. Yes, it was a toxic work environment. I knew that, but I was like, well, maybe if we go on a little better, it'll get better if we just wait a little bit. And then I just didn't want to take on the conflict. Yeah, that was the old me. I had to learn differently, right? So let me tell you that you certainly are not alone if you tend to take a minute to get to the place where you got to react, right? You got to do something. Toxic workplaces are like slow poison. They chip away at your confidence and your well being. And the good news is this: you can recover and rebuild. And I'm here to show you how, right? Because toxic workplaces don't just make your 9 to 5 unbearable, or your 8 to 4, or your 7 to 3, or your 6 to 2, whichever one of those you work in. It's more to it than that, right? They spill into your personal life, leaving you questioning your worth and your abilities. And for high achieving women, it's even more complex. For Black women, from microaggressions to unreasonable expectations, the toll is immense. But don't worry, because you're not defined by that toxic work environment. So let's start with the basic. What makes a workplace toxic? It's not just about annoying coworkers or even tight deadlines, although they can make a work environment toxic, right? I remember being in an office, and it's so memorable because every woman in that office was a woman of color. And it was one of the most toxic work environments I've ever worked in. I've never seen so much sabotage and trying to pull people down. It was like crabs in a barrel, right? So I got a comment. So hold on a second here. So Charm said, happy to be here. I am happy to have you here as well. Have you been in a toxic work environment before? As I was just sharing, I was so disappointed because I walked into one and there were all shades. There were all women of color, but it was the most toxic work environment I had been in. I had, again, I'm conflict avoidant, and I'm just gonna admit that. I can operate in conflict. I just don't like to. I mean, I really don't like to. And so, she said, Charm says, yes, she is. Whoo, I feel you there. Yes. It is truly something else, right? And so it's not just about the tight deadlines and having to meet, like, be on it, like this time. There's more to it, right? Think about things like gaslighting in the workplace. So Charm says, right now I'm struggling. Oh, I hate to hear that. I hate to hear that. So listen, maybe we'll cover some things that'll help you. And if not, I do offer a VIP roadmap session. And if necessary, we can hop on one of those to see how I can help, right? Because again, it's not just a tight work deadlines, but it's also about gaslighting in the workplace. And when your leadership is gaslighting you, it can also be about microaggressions and the lack of support from your supervisors and our, because that was my thing. I was new and, I was depending on my coworkers to train me, and they were just withholding information. I was like, "I don't understand. If you teach me how to do this, your workload lessens and mine becomes more." It's like we're a team, but yeah, okay, alright. So, oftentimes for Black women, there are layers of subtle biases and double standards that just amplify the experience. Does this sound familiar to anybody? I know Charm said yes, she's there, right? These environments do not just hurt your career. They have the potential, right, to slow down your career. They can leave you feeling isolated, stressed, and even physically unwell. I remember a coworker who, her doctor told her to go home and go home for, I think it was 2 weeks, and don't lift anything heavier than a broomstick. That's how stressed she was. So it's not just, the career. Yes, it's important, but it's also about your mental health and your physical well-being, right? And here's the thing, it really isn't you, it's them, right? It's them, okay? And but if you have like I have anxiety, and when I would run into these things, I would turn inward. What's wrong with me? What did I do to deserve this? What did what did I do? But, when you're in toxic work environments, it isn't you, it's them. Recognizing this is the first step to recovery, right? So let's talk about the 8 steps because I got 8 I'm gonna get through here. So step 1, you want to acknowledge the toxicity, right? Don't do like me. "Oh, they're doing the best that they can. Oh, they really don't mean to make me feel this way. Oh, what." Mm-mm. Recognize it, basically, recognize it for what it is. Move forward by calling a spade a spade. Reflect on what made that workplace harmful. Was it the lack of boundaries? Is it the constant undermining? And that's what it was for me. Coworkers who were consistently trying to undermine. And you almost become paranoid because you're like, which knife are they sticking in my back this week? And that tends to play on your mental health. And when you get all these things, write them down. Write them down so that they don't consume you. Once it's on paper, you get this distance between you and the toxicity so you can understand it's not me. It is some stuff going on in here that's not right. And this step is about clarity, not blame. Even if you know some chucklehead in the office is there, it's not about blame. It's about you getting clarity so you can start finding your next step. Right. So that was all step number 1. Step number 2, detox your mindset. Toxic workplaces leave their mark, but you're stronger. So you do have to start by flipping the script in your head. Again, create a list of your accomplishments, no matter how small they seem to you, no matter how long ago, if they're huge, small, in between. Create that list of accomplishments and remind yourself daily that you're capable and deserving of success. Step number 3, reclaim your career narrative. Here's the hard truth, you're not your toxic workplace experience. Now, I know it can feel like it is sometimes, especially when it's been going on for a minute and you start to feel yourself slide down. Because often what happens is, our confidence starts to slide and your efficacy starts to slide, right? And when the efficacy, and that's just your ability and belief that you can do something, when that starts to slide, you start to feel like this is hopeless, then you slide into burnout, right? Those are the steps of burnout, right? You start like, I don't think I don't think I'm capable enough. I don't think I'm confident enough. I don't think I can do this anymore. And then you start to feel like nothing will help. No matter how hard I work, who I tell, whatever happens, nothing is going to get better. Then the other piece of burnout is the fact that you feel totally fatigued. Even if you go to bed and get like 7, 8 hours night of sleep, or if you're like me, my regular is only about 6, but you go and you sleep, your required amount of sleep that's good for you, but you wake up still feeling fatigued, still feeling like you're carrying like a 100-pound rock on your back and all day long, it just feels like you're carrying this rock on your back. That's a sign of burnout. Being in toxic workplaces for too long causes burnout. So again, it doesn't define you, but you can take control of that narrative by reassessing your career goals. What do you want in that next chapter? What do you want that next chapter to look like? And this is a great time to update your LinkedIn profile because these are small steps that do give you some hope. Like, yeah, well, I mean, I'm actually doing something rather than sitting here and feeling like everything's coming at me and I've got this boulder on my back that I can't get rid of. Right? When you do this, you're able to reflect on who you are and not where you came from or not what you're going through. And this is also a great time to hire a coach to get over this hump. And step number 4, set boundaries. Boundaries are your new bestest friend in toxic workplaces because toxic workplaces often blur the boundaries and they leave you feeling overworked as well as at the same time undervalued. So your next role, make boundaries non-negotiable. When you walk in the door, non-negotiable, right? I remember being in the military, and again, I'm conflict avoidant, which probably I should have never joined the military, but that's a whole other story. But I didn't like conflict, so I didn't speak up, didn't speak out, right? In the first few 2 days I had. And then by the time I went to Desert Storm, I had enough. I was over that. I remember going to the office and I don't cuss you out, so you don't and my boss used profanity with me. I was like, "Ooh, and so everybody else thinks I didn't pay attention, I didn't know, but everybody else in the office said they all got quiet because that's normally the point that this particular boss would go cussing and yelling and screaming and F this and dropping F-bombs and stuff, and I was like, "I guess you have to do that yourself." And so everybody said, "Did you not hear us waiting in bated breath?" I wasn't paying attention. I just knew that I wasn't gonna do this anymore, right? That's because when I got to that new job, boundaries became non-negotiable. I just wasn't willing to go through that again. And you have to get when you get to that point, you'll know it, right? Now I understand some people it's hard. It's difficult to set boundaries because in our families of origins we didn't have them. And if you are like me, I have social anxiety, so I tend to let people cross my boundaries. And some of us just don't know how to set them. Right? I often work with my ladies in coaching to say, okay, what is it? What's going on in your life? What is the boundary you need to stop that from going on? And then I work with them to tell them how to set boundaries. It's not as hard as you think. Michelle Obama said it real well. She was at some function one night and somebody was back there protesting in the back. And she looked over at the moderator and said, I don't do this. That was a boundary. So boundaries don't have to be hard. They don't have to be all this talking and whatnot. She just said, "I can do this and I can leave. I don't have a problem with leaving. I'll leave. She can stay, I'll go." Right? That was an easy boundary. And I get sometimes so it's difficult to do that. But if you're having problems with it, set up, a VIP roadmap session with you. And that's one of the things we can look at because you gotta be able to set up boundaries to protect yourself. So whether it's limiting off hours, after hours email or out of the office emails or prioritizing work-life balance, boundaries are about protecting your peace, not someone else's peace. Some of us get caught up in, but if I set a boundary, how are they going to look at me? How are they going to think? It's going to make them mad. You get so caught up with worrying about what everyone else is thinking that you don't take care of yourself, which is why people cross your boundaries and you feel like you do, right? Number 5 kind of dovetails with that. Prioritize self care and mental health. You have to do right? It's not just about spa days and scented candles. Those things are great. They're nice. It's about, you're at the point, it's about hiring a therapist. You may need to hire a therapist. In addition to your coach, you can hire a therapist because you can have both. Coaches and therapists work on 2 different things, right? It's also about taking your time to journal your feelings, get all that stuff out because oftentimes As Black women, we push stuff down. That happens, we push it down, we push it down. Something else happens, we swallow it and we push it down. And you get to the point where there's just no room left to push, and stuff starts to come out, and you're like, I didn't I didn't mean that. I didn't say. That's why we don't want you pushing stuff down. You need to let that out, express your feelings, because your feelings and your emotions and your boundaries are just important as everyone else's. It's also, again, journaling, talking to a therapist if you're at that point you need one. It is about taking a walk, to clear your mind, because your mental health deserves just as much care as your career goals, just as that paycheck, right? Because at the end of the day, if you don't take care of your mental health and they have to send you home sick, you're not gonna make any money anyway. Or maybe you have to go out on disability, and I've seen people do that. It is best to take care of your mental health just as much as you do your career goals. I'm just saying, just saying. Step number 6, do build your support system, because you don't have to do this alone. Like Mendenhart said, "Have your own board of directors, your mentors," and you can have more than one, right? You can have, an internal mentor and an external mentor, right? You can your friends, your mentors, sometimes your coworkers, if they're straight, if they're pretty great coworkers. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. Or professional networks. Surround yourself with the people who are going to uplift you and inspire you. And for Black women executives, find the spaces that understand your unique challenges, right? It's crucial that you find those spaces where you belong, right? I've taken one BIPOC training, and it was only BIPOC folks. And I never thought about taking training where it was all BIPOC. I just, I love knowledge, so I'm going to take the training. And when I tell you, I recognized a difference in that training, and so many people said it, right? And we had people from around the world, Dubai, the Philippines, Australia, United States, Europe, UK. We had people from around the world, BIPOC folks from around the world. And so many people were saying the same thing. There was freedom. We didn't have to worry about attending how other people felt. We could just feel how we felt, say what we had to say, and feel like we were accepted in that room just because we are who we are. It was such a phenomenal experience that we don't get to experience very often. So again, it's crucial to find the space where you feel accepted. Okay. Number 7, now that I beat that horse down, no, but I just I can't tell you how phenomenal that experience was and how it is important for us to be able to feel that way. And number 7, you do wanna strengthen your own personal brand, let your brilliance shine. Show up on LinkedIn, or if Facebook is your thing or Instagram is your thing, wherever it is you show up, let your personal brand shine through. You wanna share thought leadership posts, the things that set you apart as the authority. Because again, when we start feeling burnout and we've been in toxic spaces for so long, our confidence does start to slip, right? And I met folks, it just slid. That's why they were hiring me as a coach, because their confidence was gone. So when you establish your personal brand and you work on making yourself the authority, it does give you a boost to your confidence levels. It gives you a boost again to your efficacy, like you know that you have the ability to do these things, right? Okay, I'm just checking for my comments down there. Right. So you can attend networking events to meet the right people in the right place, whether that's virtual or online. Your personal brand is how your career superpower. It's how you tell the world who you are and what you bring to the table, right? Don't let burnout and toxic work environments steal that from you. And finally, step number 8, you do want to embrace the power of no. Make no a full and complete sentence stop, right? I'm gonna tell you a little trick. And I had a boss who used to do this. He used to do it a lot. Um, I've learned through training to do this, but um, some folks, you'll say something and they'll sit in silence, because what they understand is this: most of us, if we're not trained, right, When we hear silence, we get uncomfortable and we want to race to fill the silence. And so people that want you to do something you're trying out your first no, they will look at you and just be silent. Because and see how long that was? It wasn't very long, but that makes us uncomfortable. Most of us open mouth and we rush in to fill in the silence. So I'm telling you now, when you say no, you be the person that goes, like, I'm not doing it. That's a no. It's uncomfortable at first, but you can do it. Make your no no, and it's just no in silence. That's it. Silence. Right? Because that's a trick that some people will do on you. They'll pull it on you and make you fill in the space. And by the time you fill in all those words, the next thing you know, okay, well, I'll go ahead and do it for you just this time, though. We don't want that. We just want you to say no. Easy peasy, right? Toxic workplaces often make people make us feel like people pleasers, but it's time to flip that script and just say no as an act of respect and silence. What the commercials say, silence. Whether it's declining a misaligned job offer or setting boundaries in your current role, own your no with confidence and a little pause of silence. Come comfortable with being uncomfortable in silence. You'll be surprised what you can get accomplished when you're just silent, right? Because recovery isn't just about, leaving a toxic workplace. It is about rediscovering your worth, rewriting your story, stepping into spaces that honor your brilliance. The moment you realize you're in control of your career and not your past job, that's the moment that everything changes. Recovering from a toxic workplace isn't necessarily easy, but it's absolutely worth it. It's about more than just finding a new job. It is about reclaiming your confidence, your mental well-being, and your career joy. For high achieving Black women, that means that stepping into roles and environments that celebrate, not just tolerate your brilliance. So, ready to take the next step, high achieving Black women come to me, when they're ready to reclaim their careers after toxic workplaces. Let's create a roadmap for your success, one that aligns with your values and your goals. Sign up for one of my safe spaces sessions today at 𝐒𝑤𝑎𝑛𝑛_carter.com. And I'll also drop the link in the description. You know, let's transform your career as well as your mindset together. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Ready to turn today's clarity into real progress? I'd love to support you. Click the link in the descriptions to connect. I'm Dr. Tawana, an executive coach for Black women, and I'll see you in the next one.